Alrighty, guys. So a little bit about electrical, a little bit more about electrical. Let's think about it. Your caravan is your home, and who doesn't want the creature comforts of home? Um, Now this caravan currently has a 12 volts and a 230 volt system. There's a little circuit board down there. So I have the option at the moment. It's running on a 12 volt power supply for some of the stuff, and then it's got quite a lot of plugs around that I'm going to switch to a double like that. It's fantastic. Couple of plugs, and so there's a lot of comfort there. Now it has got this basin, and you know, guys, running water in a caravan. Come on, you know, we've got the fridges running lovely. The microwave's great. I need to figure out how to put that in there, but I'm going to do that on another day, and I'm going to do it outside so I don't blow myself up. Right, so back to this. This is very simple. It's a lovely system. It's just got a pipe that drains, so I've checked that. That drains straight out to an outlet there, so I can just pop it onto a 20 litre or something. I have put some Renzosil on just to seal it. It had some Pratley's putty. I tested it beforehand, and it wasn't leaking, so that's just a little bit of insurance. And then I saw this cable going up, and it went onto the tap. Then I listened to the tap, and there's a switch. So obviously that is a switch for something. So I thought this thing had a pressure pump. And my biggest worry was that there's just, like a normal hose pipe connector that you just plug into the water there at your caravan park or wherever, and it's a pressurized system. And you go out for the day, you come back, and your caravan's flooded. Now, this is a wooden box on wheels. You do not want it flooded. It's the last thing you want. So I'm quite fond of this system with that little switch, the pump. And it turns out it's just that switch is part of the 12 volt system, but it needed some doing. Let's move around here because I came around and I looked at the water connection that came with the caravan. Now, if you have a look, you're going to see something quite interesting. So there are some points there, and then there's a plug and just a pipe that goes on. It's not a hose pipe fitting or anything. So I measured the diameter of that so I can get a hose, and that just leads straight to the tap with a connection. And then I started scratching around looking at the wiring. Guys, you'd really want to look at your wiring because you do not want wiring hanging down like that. That is a gas pipe that we won't be using. So I want to get that squared away. You don't want any cables, just while we're here, near the brake mechanism or hanging loose or anything. And talking about hanging loose, this AC one coming to the fridge was hanging loose. So let's get in there. I tied a knot so I can't get onto the floor. And then there's a Janus coupler, as you know, extension coupler to connect the fridge. So just tie a knot in the cable so you don't have AC wiring. At the end of the day, I want to put an inverter in here, and I do not want AC wiring dragging on the road wherever I'm going. And then all of a sudden, I plug in my inverter and there's a big kabang. So we don't want that. So what's happening here really is just, now this thing was wired with speaker wire, lots of speaker wire. And things happen to wire, especially in a DC environment. AC, not so much. DC, yes. It's a little bit of the science, just for a second, because I like the science. I find it very interesting. In an electrolytic environment, which means if you're running a lead-acid battery, your anodic side, which is the least noble or less noble side, as opposed to your cathodic side, is more prone to ionization. In other words, your negative rusts. And you're going to see that rust and corrosion on your car, and then mostly on the negative terminal. And it's going to rust or corrode. And on the negative side, most predominantly at the first mechanical joint. And by mechanical, I mean something like this, or two wires stripped, just twisted together. So just stick with me on this one. I'm going somewhere with it. I had to scratch around and have a look at the wiring on this, and turns out there's our, let's get under here, there's our speaker wire connection right there. There's a lot of cables also hanging close to the, if that gets stuck in the handbrake spring, you're going to get a short and your system's going to go bang. And then I looked at that connector and I thought, no, hang on a second. First I looked at the wiring on the other side and I saw what I call black death. Now, what is black death? Black death is a corrosion, right? That's what it is. Let's see if we can get a good view of this copper wire, right? That copper wire does not look very coppery to me. It's corroded. And what happens with that corrosion? Let me tell you what happens with that. So you have a water pump or something running at the end of that draws a bit more current. It causes resistance, so you're going to have less current flowing through this wire and more heat, and that's going to increase. And trust me, guys, you can weld with a 12-volt battery. So please do not underestimate the current coming off that. And you run it through something like that with a bit of higher resistance, and you run the risk of getting a fire. Let's go back to the beginning. A Caravan is just a wooden box on wheels. You don't want a fire. So what I said earlier on in the video was, you're going to notice these nice white big pieces of polystyrene. And that's because I'm doing this before I go home, before I go anywhere with this Caravan, not even just away for a weekend. I'm going to make sure that I want this wiring 100%. I mean, look at this. Imagine trying to do this in the bush. All the stuff you need for this cock, for this story. I've already got a hole in my head from hitting it on a part of the chassis. And the last thing I need to do is crawling around in the dirt where you're supposed to be on holiday or at your destination and going out adventuring or finding work or doing something. No, you are fixing your Caravan because you've got no running water, or you've got no gas. Just great to have a little basin and just wash your cups or whatever. If you're a guy, got a number one on you, well, don't tell me that's never happened. So what are a few? This is the two things to worry about. The first off is corrosion of the actual cable. We've covered that. And then I saw another one where there is green over here. Let's get some light on this. So I've had this working on gates and gate motors, garage motors. You see that green? That's a corrosion, and that has actually come off there. It hasn't been removed, it's broken off. And I see that corrosion and this corrosion, and the motor doesn't work anymore. And they're like, oh, but I need new battery, I need new controller. No, you just need new cables. And trust me, new cables have fixed a lot of garage and gate motors, a lot of them. So you really, really want to go through this. So what do you need? What do you need with you on the road? Okay, there are a couple of essentials. A good pair of wire strippers. You're going to thank yourself for getting a good pair of wire strippers. These work great. Another small thing, maybe you didn't know existed, is this. And this is a cable tie thingy-majig. And it's real nice. I have a few. I like this one. It goes on the side. So you pull it, and that tightens that cable tie. And then you hit that little lever, cuts it off nice and neat right there. And that's tight. That's not going to go anywhere. You want that. That's another tool you really want. Obviously, your electrical screwdrivers, side cutters, must have. Made that electrical screwdriver. And you're going to need a multimeter. Any multimeter will do. I have a number of multimeters, and I'm just going through which ones are going to work for me the best, because I do a lot of electrical with the gates and garages and everything. So doesn't have to be a fancy one. Not that that's very expensive, as it isn't. Now we spoke about mechanical joints. So mechanical joints happens when you connect them with a connector block. And just another thing about connector blocks perish. So if you look at this, that perished. So even though if I look in there, the connections are actually okay. These things stand a risk of breaking and then shorting out, and then your battery inverter, whatever you've got, goes kaboom. And these came off. That was on there, so I just replaced the connector block with a new one, and that's acceptable. And if you replace it with a new one, get yourself a little tin of silicon spray. Not so much Q20 silicon spray, because it's non-petroleum and therefore it will actually feed the plastic and not corrode it. So once you've done that connection, give it a little bang of this inside out, prevent corrosion and prevent the plastic from deteriorating to this point. Granted, this has lasted out of a long time, so be good with that. Here's another one, if you can afford it, is an AC/DC clamp meter. Don't waste your money on just an AC one. Get an AC/DC, spend the extra money, because this can measure current also, and it can measure current up to 400 amps. So this you're going to put over your leads on your inverter. This, when I put that pump in and I switch it on, I'm going to measure how much current it takes, because I want a 12-volt battery in here and an inverter system. A 12-volt battery is just like a major redundancy. If in case something goes wrong, I still have lights, I still have water, and I can still charge phones and that kind of stuff. So I need that 12 volts. I want that 12 volts. I can always charge the 12 volts. Just get a live PO4, because these lead acid stuff, they're heavy and they don't last long. They have less cycles. The lithium or live PO4s have infinitely more cycles. So rather just spend the money and get them. It's not much more. For 100 amp hour, you're looking at a 600 Rand difference. And trust me, you're going to go through 4 of those lead acids before you get onto before you have to replace one lithium. So just get a live PO4, be done. Otherwise, nothing costs more than being poor. And rather save up, get something good. I haven't used speaker wire. I've had some of this 1 mil, which is 10 amp cab tire, really, whatever they call it. 3 cores, I only need 2. And I find that's quite good, because there's a lot of resistance to stones and stuff coming up and hitting under the chassis. You want that. You'll obviously need a drill, because you got to sort of kind of drill through the bits of wood on the bottom and everything. So back to the mechanical joint. What works great is a soldering iron. You do also get, I like this one. I bought it at Chamberlain's many years ago, and I've done a lot of soldering with it. I've never had to change the tips, and it was super cheap, and it really works, because it sort of idles at 30 watts, and then when you pull that, it gives you a bang of 100 watts. It's really great. And then this is fabric tape. So this is actually, let's get in the sun. This is what you see in automotive harnesses, especially guys like Tracker and that use it for their cabling. It's very professional. It sticks. This insulation tape story, that glue deteriorates very quickly, and you just end up with a sticky mess. Trust me, when you wrap a wire in this, you're not taking it off. You're cutting that wire. I know, I've tried. And I just ended up cutting the wire. It is also waterproof, so it's great for connections underneath. So fabric tape. Our Midas just down the road has started stocking it. Before, I always bought it on Temu. And then, of course, a marker from Temu. It has a long nib, which is great for marking through holes and that. Sorry, to mount stuff. Because you want to mark the cables. like I mark the negatives with this and the negative side of the connector strip, so I don't get my polarities wrong and don't destroy the whole thing, or then the water pump's just, you know, pushing water back into the bottle instead of into your tap. So get your polarities right, plus minus. You can't have 50-50, right? So I haven't got my water pump yet because I've just done this wiring. There's no point in getting it, so I've just hung a bulb there to test. The bulb is off, so the power is off. And once I do, I'll get a 20-litre water, stick it on there. Now I'll open the tap, and then I'll just put that pump in line. But we now have a safe 12 volts going off to the where the pump will be, which I'll put a connector in, and I'm going to switch on the tap. Now there's no water, and I just switched it on. So let's see if our pump's going to run. So this is a little light bulb I use for load testing, 7 amp hour up, and there was light. Now if I put that clamp meter around there, I can see how much current that's going to pull. But I'm not going to be putting a light bulb there, I'm going to be putting a pump there. So when I put the pump there, just note on the clamp meter, on your AC, you only put it around the live wire, not the live and neutral. Now switch it off. And then on your DC, you only put it around, preferably the positive. Does work on the negative, but just one wire. Doesn't work if you put it over both. And there you go. The light is off. So our tap switch is working, our drain is working. I don't see any problem with the pipe going to the tap. Remember, it's negative, so you don't want air to be sucked in. You're not going to have a chance of water spraying out, but you are going to have air being sucked in. So you do want tight connections, but they don't have to be like household, and it's a lot safer than just plugging a hose pipe. You don't know how much pressure's on there. You don't know. So for me, I don't know. I want negative pressure working on suction. And so I'm going to put the 20-litre, and then the pipe is going to come out, go down, and then go up to the connector, right? So that pump will always have water in it. So it is self-priming, but it's not good for a pump to run dry. So you do want that loop. And anyway, the connection point is lower than a 20-litre. So that will always be primed. And that's great. Then it'll go up to your tap. So your water should be almost instant. And the electrical is safe. There's a few more electricals I need to do going to the front. And then I'll be happy with that. And then we're on to the next thing. So guys, if this video has helped you, please like and subscribe. If you want to donate to my Life on the Road or Lankstaan Kamp, because this is on a budget, you wouldn't say it with all those tools, but I've been collecting for years. There is a link to a PayPal donate me in my bio. And guys, please share the video, and thank you for watching.